this video, we will continue trying to recreate the new LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising minifigures releasing in 2025. In part 1 we made 4 minifigures, so today we'll continue with another 4. Let's go! So one thing I immediately wanted to fix from last time is Morrow's choice of legwear. I couldn't find anything fitting for him, so I went with plain sand green. However, I clearly didn't look hard enough because GJA Link suggested I use Balobos legs, which I think work perfectly, and I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't think of this, so huge thanks for this comment. Another suggestion I had was to use either the Legacy Rattler's face for my custom Noct, or the Bluestone Warrior face, both of which work pretty nicely. However, I don't think there will be a truly great match until the Noct figure himself releases next year. With that out of the way, let's move on to creating some more 2025 figures. So the first figure I really wanted to create today was the brand new shirtless Zane. I don't know exactly why, but I find this minifigure very funny. Maybe it's just the fact that he's flexing his robotic six-pack. Anyway, I started with the legs, which shouldn't be hard to find a stand-in for. The legs on most recent Zane figures all look kind of similar. Honestly, I can barely even tell most of these apart. But eventually, I settled on probably the closest match I could find, which was Golden Zanes from 2022, who came in the Golden Dragon Jet and the Golden Ultra Dragon sets. Now for the torso. I was thinking that something from War Machine would probably be good, and I was correct. The torso I ended up using was from the War Machine figure that appeared in the Extremis Seaport battle set from Iron Man 3 in 2013. And I just switched the hands out for the Dark Azure hands from Season 11 Zane. Then I just grabbed the nearest Zane head with hair, which happened to be from the last wave of sets. He appeared in the Zane's Ice motorbike and the Tournament Temple City. So that was how I made a pretty easy shirtless Zane figure, and I get the feeling that next year this will be one of the most popular minifigures, as he appears in a very small and affordable set, alongside another very desirable minifigure in the form of Drix. Speaking of Drix, she is our next custom figure today. Apart from the minifigure, almost nothing is known about Drix so far, not even her gender, but I say her based on the minifigure's feminine face print. The same goes for Kerr, another member of the Forbidden Five where nothing bar the name is really known about them. I'm sure all will be revealed in due time. Hello everyone, quick editing fix here. Please disregard what I just said about Drix, because shortly after I recorded these lines, in the description for the Zane's Battle Mech set on lego.com, they confirmed that Drix is indeed a male and not a female. So I apologise in advance for the mistakes. Anyway, let's get started on this custom recreation. I immediately had a pretty difficult time trying to find a roughly accurate looking torso and legs. Not because red and black torsos didn't exist, but because I didn't have many. So I went with some of the 2016 Nexo Night villain legs, more on that later. And I went with Empress Beatrix's torso and switched the arms to black with dark red hands. The shoulder pads were very easy to find because they appear on Lord Raz and before that the Crystal King. And now this is where things get difficult. Well, difficulter, more difficult, you get it. And the reason for that is that dark red heads aren't too common, however there is one in particular that would work well for her, that being Beetles from the 2012 Daily Bugle set. Unfortunately though, I do not collect LEGO Marvel too often, so instead I opted to go with a regular red head, which should make my task a bit easier. Iron Spider's head would have been really great, though like I said before, I'm not a Marvel collector. Although I did manage to find a 2014 Spider-Man face, which kind of works. Then we have the hat, which was hard as well, mainly due to the fact that the classic conical hat piece has never appeared in black somehow, even though it's been out for 12 years. I always thought that Evil Woo had a black hat, but that must have been some kind of Mandela effect thing, because that was actually silver. I was also a little surprised to find that this piece has appeared in 10 different colours so far, of which I own at least one of each. But yet again, no black shockingly. So I had the choice of either settling on dark bluish grey or using the newer style hat in black, and I opted for the latter. And ta-da! Here you have an extremely discounted version of Drix. Okay, I'll be the first to admit this looks terrible, but that's not the point, it's the attempt that counts. Anyway, I promise the next one looks better, so let's move on. Next, I wanted to recreate the new version of Pixal. That's right, Pixal is back in this season for the first time since Crystallized, if I recall. Apart from that one core set she was in 2023, but that's not really canon, is it? She appears in the Zane's Combiner Mech set, and it makes sense because she is Zane's robotic girlfriend after all, and the team's resident vehicle designer, but most importantly the current Samurai X. I think, I'm not actually sure if she still is. Her suit here is very reminiscent of Super Mech Pilot Cole's from Cole's Titan Dragon mech last year, with the mostly white colour scheme. She also gets a brand new face here, unlike Sora, Aaron and Wildfire, three supposedly main characters. So I searched around on the reliable old Bricklink for a while to find a fitting torso and legs for her. However, it turns out that there isn't really too many torsos that feature white and purple somehow, and there certainly aren't any white and purple robotic suit looking prints, although I get the feeling that there is probably a clone trooper torso out there that would fit, but I'm not a Star Wars collector either. So I decided on just using Mech Pilot Cole's torso and legs, except I swapped out the arms for flat silver arms that were on the most recent Zane figure. I am massacring this poor minifigure. And I gave her red hands, shoulder pads and the head and hair pieces from the most recent Pixal minifigure, which appeared in 2 core sets in 2022 and 2023. And now we had an okay looking Dragons Rising Pixel. This one also gave me a bit of a hard time. Once again, it is difficult to find accurate-ish prints, but anyway, let's move on to our final minifigure for today. So, for the last figure on today's list, I'll be trying to recreate one of the new Dragonian villains. Now, I've made my stance on these guys pretty clear by now. I really don't like them too much. I do think they look exactly like the villains from the first season of Nexo Knights. So naturally, I used Nexo Knights villain pieces to recreate one of them. Starting with the legs and torso from Ultimate Beastmaster. I then added these shoulder pads that appeared on Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't own any of the 3 sets this piece appears in flat silver, so I actually have no idea how it's in the collection, but back to the figure at hand. The face here is from, hold on, let me check my notes, Ash Attacker with orange horns, and the hair is from Flamethrower. Sorry, the Nexo Knights villains are just so forgettable to me. But with just those few figures, you can recreate one of the new Dragonian, minus the awesome new helmet piece of course, and the shoulder pads should have been a bit bigger, but I'm working with what I have. And I'm sure plenty of you will suggest fixes in the comments anyway. Yeah, I'll reiterate it here again. I am really not a big fan of these Dragonian guys. They're a little too bland for my tastes. However, the new armor pieces are cool. But I am kind of sick by now of Ninjago doing villains that are just some kind of like race in different colours. For example, with the Munts and the Geckles, or the Dragon Hunters, or the Island Keepers. For comparison, we have the OG Serpentine and Skulkin. Sure, they were all the same race, but they each had unique molds and personalities. Even the Imperium villains from 2023 were pretty unique, but then if you compare them to the Dragonian guys, they're all kind of the same figure with slightly different hair pieces on and slightly different printing. Having said that though, I do love the Wolf Mask Warriors from 2024, and they are literally the same figure over and over again. So in short, I'm a huge hypocrite. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and if you would like to see more content like this. That's been all for today folks. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.